Thanks very much, Amit, for taking the time out and speaking with ET. Now, we've been trying to get your time since past couple of months, so really glad to be doing this here with you. Welcome to India and, of course, to ET now. Now, Amazon's been operating in India for the past decade or so, especially as far as you talk about the e-commerce arm of the business. This is your fifth Sambhav event. And in that sense, Amazon's really been key so far as India's digitization journey is concerned in terms of how you've connected sellers, how you've connected small and medium businesses. I want to understand from you, how do you look at these past few years?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, welcome to Sambhav. It's exciting to talk to you over here as well. If you think about the journey that Amazon started in 2013 with our e-commerce business, it was also the time where the government started talking about its vision of a digital India, right? So we have overlapped with that journey as well. And what was really exciting for us is our approach to doing business in India completely overlaps with the government priorities. Because the way we approach it is we focus on three main things: offer customers with the largest selection of products at the greatest value and the most convenience. And the way we do that is digitizing small businesses, empowering them in technology and tools so that they can bring products on our marketplace, reducing costs for them by building logistics, infrastructure, providing them tools and capabilities, and now AI, so that they can reduce the cost to offer at great prices and also with fast delivery. And all of this, when I look back, we have digitized nearly 12.4 million small businesses. We have 1.6 million sellers on our marketplace. We are very excited about that. When I look at the job creation that has happened because of our investment in logistics infrastructure, we have created 1.4 million jobs in the years that we have been around here. And that's, to give you a perspective, is 30% of ITES jobs in the country.
Right.
So just Amazon has done that alone, is 30% of those jobs. And then on the export side, which is something we started in India, we started empowering these businesses, not just to sell to customers across the country, but sell globally. And we have enabled more than $13 billion in exports since we launched this program. And again, to give you that perspective, that's about 3% of India's B2C exports if you take petroleum and jewelry out. So it's very humbling that we are impacting lives and livelihoods. And in Sambhav today, actually, we are excited to announce three new things that would continue this journey for us. We have announced that we want to earmark $120 million focused on manufacturing, investing in startups that are focused on manufacturing products locally. We are quadrupling our bet on exports, and we are committing to $80 billion in exports by 2030. And then we're also launching Amazon Shipping and Amazon Freight, which essentially externalizes the entire capabilities that we built for our own business so that any business of any size can use it. So very excited about the journey that we have, and more excited about the impact that we're creating with lives in the country.
Absolutely. And like you said, that this is about impacting livelihood. So today's top three announcement that you just spoke about, I want to understand from you, how do those tie into the goals that India has with respect to being a developed country by 2047? And besides these, are there any other bets that you're keen on taking with respect to the technological landscape and how trends are emerging?
Yeah, I think if you think about the first phase of our journey overlapped with this initial vision of a digital India. And now there's this bold vision that the Honorable Prime Minister has set for us, which is a developed India, Viksit Bharat by 2047, that 100th year of independence. And that's super energizing, right? And again, when I look back on what we do on an everyday basis, we find our daily business processes, our approach, completely overlapping with that goal of India. So the three announcements I talked about, we entered into an MOU with DPIIT, and that MOU is focused on earmarking $120 million focused on startups that are investing in local manufacturing. Exports has been a key, unique capability we provide to local businesses, where we allow them to sell on any Amazon website globally and get access to the global customer base. So there, an $80 billion exports really quadruples our commitment to exports. And that's important for a Viksit Bharat to see. A self-sustainable India needs to not only be able to sustain itself, but assert its kind of quality and creativity across the world. And this is a great platform for us to create global brands out of India. And then Amazon Shipping and Amazon Freight brings logistics. To your question on new technology, AI is a big big focus area for us. Again, I congratulate the government on its very progressive vision of AI for all, and using AI to fully exploit fully exploit AI for the benefit of the citizens. And so there we've been using AI for a lot of years, whether it's personalization or inventory placement. But just last week in the reInvent Summit, our AWS Summit, we announced our largest foundational model, Nova, which is a multimodal, which is you can give text, video, images, any input, any output, cross-language reasoning, and it's the best performance price that customers can get. And making that accessible for India would empower many developers to get access to AI. And then there are other tools like Amazon Q for Business, Amazon Q for Developers, that reduces the cost of software development by 80%. So all of these capabilities are going to be important to project India into its potential in 21st century, and we are committed to using our pledges in our own business to accelerate that.
When you mention India, I'm going to talk about that in just a bit, but let me first delve a bit more into AI. You of course mentioned about the announcements that were made last week at AWS, but how is AI driving cost efficiencies for Amazon? Because this has been one of the key disruptions, and people have bet very big on this technology on the back of the kind of efficiencies, cost efficiencies that will bring for businesses. Give an insight into that.
Yeah, I think it's both, right? It's an improvement of experience, it's reduction of waste. And when you remove waste, you also improve customer experience. It's kind of a flywheel. Removing waste is actually improving experience, and customers tend to shop more with you. You get more revenues out of that. You can invest those revenues back into growing the experience. So it all works together. Now, if you shop on Amazon and let's say you are being targeted with personalization, there's AI behind it, right? On the same side, if I go on the other side, let's take a small business in a small town trying to get started on Amazon. Now, they don't really have the wherewithal, the knowledge to how to list a product. With Amazon Seller Assistant, which is an AI again, they can take an image of a product. The AI will identify the product, pre-fill all the attributes that they have, clean up the image, generate the commentary for the products that they have, even help them create ads on Amazon with whatever themes they have. They could say that project my product in a Diwali theme, and it would show their product in that light. So all of this reduces waste that is there today that the seller has to employ. They have to probably spend time and resources to try to get the perfect product. If they ship the wrong product to the customer returns the product. So it's a poor experience. It's a wasted logistics cost in sending the product and sending it back. And with use of generative AI, we can essentially create a perfect listing and a perfect experience right in the back.
That's indeed incredible, the kind of support that you're looking at extended to sellers via AI. But let me talk about the India market. In fact, in 2023, Amazon announced an investment of $15 billion. And correct me if I'm wrong. I want to understand from you on, how this figure really compares to the other emerging markets that you're operating in, and what really gives you the confidence in India with respect to other emerging markets?
Well, I mean, we make our investment decisions independently for each of our markets. Specifically for India, I mean, this is a great time to be building in India. I mean, the energy is, everyone, we can feel it in this center with so many entrepreneurs over here. And for India is going to be the third largest economy. It's not a question of if, it's a question of when. We have the vision of a Viksit Bharat by 2047. So we have a huge demographic advantage in terms of nearly 50% of our population younger than 25. And all of these coming together make India very, very attractive. And the pace of changing every day. AI is only going to accelerate the pace of change. So we are very excited about it. The investment that you're referring to, the latest investment announcement, was more in cloud computing. We look at cloud computing as a way to invest in the entrepreneurial creativity of India, because cloud computing offers data centers, it offers local data centers for developers, for startups, public sector, private sector, to essentially reinvent their technology and to change the world. And so our investments that you talked about we estimate those investments will contribute to about $23 billion in GDP for the country and create an additional 131,000 jobs. So we are very excited about our investments. We continue to invest in our e-commerce business. We are investing in Prime Video, which is our content business that entertains customers. So through all our businesses, we feel that we are excited to be part of this transformation.
When you talk about disruption, Amit, we spoke about AI, but the other disruption that one is seeing is with respect to quick commerce and the kind of delivery timelines that have gotten massively reduced. I have a two-pronged question here. Number one, how do you think this is going to impact a business like yourselves only because of the delivery timelines that it has? And there is conjecture that Amazon is also coming up with its own quick commerce vertical. What are the timelines that you're looking at as far as introduction of that service in India is concerned?
I think the first of all, I would go back to say that if we were sitting here 10 years later, customers would still want more selection, faster speeds,
Absolutely.
and greater value. So what you're seeing is a very logical reaction. And right from the beginning, Amazon has been focusing on those three pillars. How do we add more selection? How do we make things more and more affordable for customers? How do we make things more and more faster and more reliable for our customers? So today, if you go and shop on Amazon, we have hundreds of millions of products. I think Prime members can get about 4 million products delivered to them next day. They can get 1 million distinct products delivered to them same day. They can get hundreds of thousands of products delivered to them in a few hours. They can get tens of thousands of products delivered to them in 30 minutes or an hour. So you already get those speeds on Amazon. You just don't realize, you're just always shopping for it. But we do recognize that to make it easier for customers to discover different levels of services, we do plan to launch our own 15-minute delivery offering starting with Bangalore later this year, so that customers could, in a very convenient way, look at all the products that they can get shipped instantly for them. So I would just stay tuned.
And when are you looking at expanding that service into other cities?
I would just say stay tuned. We'll start with Bangalore. We are super excited that we are loved as India's apni dukaan by customers. We serve daily essentials for customers across the corners of the country. And as I said, nearly 1 million items are shipped same day, distinct items. So, offering customers more and more selection at faster speed is something that we love doing, and so you should just stay tuned.
And I think this is going to be an interesting space to watch out for quick commerce and e-commerce and how the two.
I don't think so. They're separate things.
Yes.
I feel that we like to term these things as different things. Customers love selection, great value, and fast delivery. We have been doing it for the last 11 years, and we will continue to do that. And you would always have solutions that will new models that would come up that either offer greater value at lower convenience, or lower selection at higher speed. All of them will flourish. The beauty is one doesn't have to lose for the other to succeed.
Absolutely.
You will have many winners. As India grows, there would be many more business models, and it's great for customers. It's great for customers because it ultimately grows e-commerce, and I genuinely believe that it grows consumption, it grows retail in India. So what you would see is just the pie of retail would go up. E-commerce within that would grow up. And all of this will create just more jobs and will create a faster growth for the economy. So we're just lucky and fortunate to be part of it.
I think that's what companies like yourselves and of course investors are betting big on as far as the India consumption story is concerned. But Amit, when you mention about consumption, and particularly if you look at the past few weeks, the data that we have seen, of course, growth has slowed in the country. There's been a bit of a consumption slowdown, if I may call it that, particularly with respect to urban centers. In rural, it's remained pretty much the same, but there's been a slowdown that's been noticed in urban centers. Give us a sense of whether you have felt the pinch with respect to your recently concluded sales in tier 2 towns, 3 cities versus urban centers.
Look, so I think while I have a lot of optimism to how consumption is going to grow in India and how e-commerce within that is going to grow, today, e-commerce is barely 3%. It's a very small part of overall retail. It gets a lot of attention. It probably gets 90% attention for 3% size. So at that scale, macro factors don't really impact it as much. So when I look at our business, the recently concluded sales that you talk about, we had more than 1.4 billion visits to Amazon.in, which is nearly the population of the country. And Prime, which is our best deal out there, where customers can get free fast delivery, great entertainment, Prime Video and Prime Music, 5% cashback with our co-branded credit card. Prime membership saw its highest single day signups during the 48 hours of the festival. Prime is growing at 30% year over year, even though we have millions of Prime members. So we continue to see a lot of customer interest. Customers are loving our service. And with some of the things that I talked about, we launched a Bazaar store. A Bazaar is the other side of convenience, which is ultra low prices for customers who are ready to give up some convenience. And in just a few months of launch, it has grown 10 times. And we are, excited to introduce customers to our 15-minute delivery service. So I think all in all, we are super excited by the momentum that we continue to see
I'm
and
particularly
looking forward.
excited about the 15-minute delivery service. But Amit, speaking of e-commerce and of course, the area that you're operating into, India is looking at coming up with its own e-commerce policy. It was expected to be rolled out earlier this year, hasn't happened till now, but is expected to be rolled out in the next couple of months. Then of course, India is also expected to roll out DP rules, the Privacy Act rules as well. How do you think these regulations are going to impact a business like yourself?
I think at the core of it, uh, if we work backwards from the 2047 Viksit Bharat vision, I think it's important for all of us to accept and embrace that e-commerce is going to be a key enabler for that. Now, I gave you data just about Amazon, how our business over the 11 years has increased manufacturing, has created jobs, has improved digitization. And if all cylinders are firing on e-commerce, my bet is the right progressive regulation and policy can actually increase consumption, make retail larger, and within that, let e-commerce thrive. And so there would be many, many winners if we do it right. And I think that should mean, uh, you know, lesser regulatory burden, making it easier for small businesses to come online, a fair and transparent and level playing field for all, so that customers can enjoy the services from all companies versus trying to be selective and guarding customer trust. So I think the right kind of policies focus in that direction will achieve the India goals of making consumption greater, getting us to develop, and let e-commerce thrive as well.
Right. So let me also talk to you about when you talk about regulations and of course the level playing field that should be given to everybody. There's been a bit of a concern that's been expressed by traders who say that e-commerce companies will ultimately end up impacting Kirana stores. Would you agree with that argument?
Well, I can only talk for us. I cannot talk for other e-commerce companies. As I said, our approach to running our business in India right from the beginning has been centered around small businesses. How do you empower them with technology so that they can add selection? How do you reduce the cost of operations so they can offer great prices? How do you build the logistics so that they can offer faster speed? Very early, in fact, I've talked about this a few times, we had launched this service called I Have Space. And what that does is it allows the local Kirana stores to be part of our logistics ecosystem. We have tens of thousands of these already part of our ecosystem. What we do is we ship it to the Kirana store because they know the locality the best. And they, during their downtime, take the product and deliver it to the customer's doorstep. So what it does is it reduces our cost of delivery. It improves the reliability because the customer sees a familiar face and they are more likely to deliver the item first shot reliably to the customer. So it's better customer experience, revenue for the Kirana store, lower cost for us, the whole ecosystem wins. So we continue to focus on that approach and we would continue to look for such ideas to build the overall ecosystem.
So you're saying it's a win-win for everybody involved.
Absolutely, I think.
But let me also talk to you about the exports opportunity, and you've set a target of surpassing the $13 billion target in e-commerce exports by the end of 2024, which is in the next couple of weeks. Are you sticking to that target? And how big a lever of growth do you think exports is going to be for Amazon amongst a whole host of other businesses that you currently?
I mean, I'm super excited about what the team has done with our global selling program. And just for the sake of the audience, it allows a business to sell their products globally across all Amazon sites. In fact, there's a business, just to give you an example, called Skillmatics, which started 5 years ago on Amazon. It was started by a couple of local entrepreneurs that wanted to build educational toys. Their business has grown 50 times in the last 5 years. Now they have offices in multiple countries. They're employing hundreds of people. And now they are a globally known brand on Amazon globally in the toy category. That's a great example of what's possible when you empower businesses with technology. And so through that global selling program, we have enabled $13 billion in cumulative exports already. And just to give you a sense, it's about 3% of India's B2C exports if you exclude petroleum and jewelry. So that's a meaningful impact in local manufacturing and exports. And motivated by that, today I just announced that we are quadrupling our focus in that area, and we are pledging $80 billion in exports by 2030. So we want to be a significant exports and local manufacturing to be a significant driver. So together with the MOU with DPIIT and our exports goal of $80 billion, I think this could be a huge catalyst for local manufacturing.
And I think that really ties into the government's vision of not just making in India, but I think making for the world as well.
Absolutely. I think brands created in India for the world and great quality brands that can compete at global scale is what our vision is.
Right. One final question, Amit, before we let you go, and that really is on the growth projections that you have for the India market. How are you looking at growth coming in from this market?
Well, I'm super excited by the momentum that we have. The kind of growth numbers that we set for ourselves are mostly around how are we going to add selection, how are we going to make it more and more affordable to a larger population to shop online, and how do we impact speed. So as I said, our business is very boring on an everyday basis. That's what my team does. They just keep adding selection, they keep expanding customer reach and tools for making things more affordable.
But any numbers you have to share?
Well, we don't. You'll just have to look at our filings that we do. We don't break out the country numbers, but I could say that we exceeded all our expectations that we had for 2024, and I'm super energized by what lies ahead.
And couldn't be more excited for what's to come in the next few decades. On that note, thank you very much, Amit, for taking the time out and speaking with ET Now.
Thank you for having me.